FBI agents searched the home of Washington Post reporter Hannah Nathanson on Wednesday, according to the Justice Department. It's part of an investigation into classified information that was allegedly leaked by a Pentagon contractor.
A report from the Post says, quote, the reporter Hannah Nathanson was at her home in Virginia. At the time of the search, federal agents searched her home and her devices, seizing her phone, 2 laptops, and a Garmin watch. One of the laptops was her personal computer. The other was a Post-issued laptop.
Investigators assured Nathanson that she is not the focus of this investigation, has not been accused of any wrongdoing. The warrant states that the man being investigated is Aurelio Perez Lugones, a system administrator with top-secret security clearance who was arrested last week. He's charged with unlawfully retaining national defense information. Attorney General Pam Bondi wrote on X that the Trump administration will not tolerate illegal leaks of classified information that, when reported, poses a grave risk to our nation's national security and the brave men and women who are serving our country.
Now, the Washington Post executive editor, Matt Murray, called the search of Nathanson's home, quote, deeply concerning, and said it, quote, raises profound questions and concern around the constitutional protections of our work. Others echoed his concerns online. Liberal commentator Ed Krasenstein replied to Bondi's post, writing, quote, imagine if Joe Biden did this. You guys would say that he should be impeached for violating the First Amendment. And journalist Glenn Greenwald says, quote, a huge controversy of the Obama DOJ was when it obtained the phone records of Fox's James Rosen, then 2 AP reporters, to find out who was leaking classified docs. The Trump FBI just searched the home of a Washington Post reporter with the same motive. Look, classified documents cases are not new, but I think raiding a reporter's home that wasn't even accused of wrongdoing is something that's new. And
what about raiding a president's home?
Yeah, and the DOJ declined to continue to prosecute that. So why would they move forward with this?
Lago.
Yes, I understand that. I get it. But I don't think anybody in the DOJ right now would say this is a good move to continue to move forward with the Mar-a-Lago investigation. So specifically, there's an overall attack.
Must be brought back to the government.
There is an overall attack on the press that makes this extremely concerning. I think that when you're suing newsrooms like CBS, when you're suing the Wall Street Journal, when you're suing the New York Times, but this is happening at the same time that homes are being raided because you want to know who's leaking material. When reporters, even Fox reporters, declined to sign some weird arbitrary agreement with the Pentagon. Everybody condemned that.
Putting a bunch of things together, some of which I also
This is still about a Pentagon leak. So they're saying, well, we're shutting it out. You cannot report in any capacity we don't like. If you have done it, we're going to harass you to find who the leak inside the Pentagon was. I mean, this is like freedom of the press, freedom of speech. I don't understand. Like, this affects anybody who wants to be a whistleblower, which has given us major news stories in the past. Somebody who's willing and brave enough to ring the alarm for us to look at. This will stop some government accountability because now people think they're going to go to jail if they point out a wrongdoing of our government. I mean, this is trying to get rid of anybody that might be brave enough to say something's going wrong here.
Well, they're not pursuing charges against her. I would agree that it would be wrong to go after the journalists are going to report classified information if they get it, if they think it's in the public interest, and they should continue to do that. And that's not illegal. What the government can do is to go after the leakers. So if they're not going after her, they're going after who they think leaked her.
Well, tell me, if your home got raided, would you be like, oh, they're not coming after me?
Carrying classified information, smuggling out in his lunchbox?
Do you think if your home got raided as Robby Soave, would you be comfortable with that because the government was looking for someone that you talked to? I think that is a complete violation of this Washington Post report. Nobody wants that to happen. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're using national security as a catch-all. Like, everything is detrimental. They said people had to get out of the Pentagon or sign this agreement because it was a national security concern. I feel like that statement is being overused and abused just to benefit the Trump administration in whatever way they see fit. And that's not really the appropriate way to lead and govern.
Right. I'm just saying it's part of their attempt to make their case against this guy who they're going to bring charges against, who is a leaker, who is a federal employee, and who can be prosecuted or punished or sanctioned in some way for what he did. They're not trying to do that to the reporter.
So the concerns coming from her executive editor that are saying it's concerning that Washington Post
I would say it's
documents the laptop was taken, her laptop, her Garmin device. I mean, I think that's like a bit much for a reporter because now at this point, anybody who gets any leak and shares information should be concerned with their home being raided. Right. And so that is a natural. Think about somebody's life.
Gather information.
Exactly. Like, we live pretty normal lives. If somebody comes busting down our door, you know what a raid looks like? I mean, that is absurd to get, or even knocking in the middle of the night, early in the morning. Like, these are all concerning when we were just doing our job.
I would favor changing policies to make it more difficult for them to obtain warrants to do these kinds of searches. Warrants are granted, in my view, to the government far too easily, especially including for the special FISA courts that grant warrants to do the surveillance of phone records and those kinds of things, wiretapping, those
Yes.
issues. It's just granted at the government's discretion every single time, even when their theory of wrongdoing is ludicrous. And that is a policy that keeps getting re-upped on a bipartisan basis, is voted for when it needs to be reauthorized. And I have long opposed that. And I'm frustrated that more Republicans do not.
I just think if reporters develop hundreds of sources over years of working in this industry, like this reporter has, to be concerned that anytime the government doesn't like your reporting, you may or may not get raided. It's a bigger issue because.
But it's more than not liking the reporting here. It's classified documents.
Yes, I understand that. But then go after the person that leaked the classified documents, which they said they are. But reporters are going to feel naturally affected by this, right? You would be not if she's within her right mind to feel unease about continuing to move forward and report stories where something that the administration has pushed back against, which is reporting any information that we have not leaked. We're not talking about sealed cases. We're talking about stuff that people have leaked in the past and have gotten to the press to share big stories. To think about putting that out and releasing it, or even accepting the information from the source, because by default, you can be a casualty of this attack against whoever leaked the document. Your home can get raided. Your everyday life can be completely jarred because you're doing your job. And I think that it should be alarming. And whether it's like changing the laws that we know, like FISA laws, that's like a whole entire rabbit hole that won't get changed. But pointing out in the moment that an administration should not be even pursuing looking into this girl's home and taking away her work materials because she's protected to report on the things that she reports on, I think that's an accurate and balanced way to say, yes, you're welcome to pursue anybody who's leaking information inside of the Pentagon. But when you step outside of that and start attacking journalists, that's a whole other story. And she should feel attacked. When your home is raided, no matter if they're bringing you out in cuffs or not, I think naturally people will feel attacked.
All right.
Up next, donations poured in for a suspended Ford worker in Michigan who reportedly heckled President Trump. We'll be right back after this.